I know this sounds absolutely insane, so bear with me. I, 38 female, have an unusual domestic situation. My best friend for my entire life has been Adam, 38 male. We've known each other since we were babies. Adam is gay. I was the first person he came out to, and he was my roommate for a long time after his parents found out and things got ugly. He married his husband, John, 39, who was also our close college friend. So we've all been tight for a long time. I've decided that I'm not the marrying type, but I did want to have children, and Adam and John also wanted a family, so we decided to kill two birds with one stone. We have two sons, young grammar school and pre-tween, both of whom are biologically mine, while Adam and John are each the biological father of one of the boys. It's worked out way better than we ever could have hoped. This year, we decided to go in together to get a bigger house and live together. The boys are getting to the age that they can do with their own rooms, and all of us adults have been roommates before, so we know we live well together. It would simplify things a lot. The boys love us all being in the same house, and it's a good arrangement for everyone. Adam's been talking to his parents for the last couple of years, and they're trying to repair their relationship. He's been feeling positive about it. He asked, and we all agreed that they could visit the Saturday after Thanksgiving and meet the boys. Adam had already explained the living situation because we have always thought of the kids as all of ours, and the kids call us all their parents. It didn't occur to me that the bio-parentage would be an issue for Adam's parents. Things were okay, and everyone behaved until we put the kids to bed. I went to my room to give the others some space to talk. I heard Adam raise his voice a little, but decided not to get involved. Not long after, his mom knocked on my door and asked to talk. It boiled down to the fact that she and her husband wanted to know which of the boys was their grandson. They both favor me now more than Adam and John, so it's not obvious. I suspected something was up, so I told her she needed to talk to Adam and John about it. They refused to answer the question because both boys were their children, so she wanted me to. It turned into an uncomfortable situation. Adam and his dad aren't speaking, and I've gotten some messages from his mom trying to backtrack, but pressing for info simultaneously. A friend of mine said that while it was smart not to disclose without consulting Adam and John, we're delving into idiot territory by refusing to explain the bio-relationships involved, and it's not wrong for the grandparents to want to know, especially since John's parents know. They only know that because they were involved with helping us with the pregnancies and when the boys were tiny, since my parents passed on. However, am I the idiot for refusing to tell my son's grandparents which of my children is their grandson? Not the idiot. This is a clear-cut attempt to establish which kid it's okay to abuse. Let them know that until they're ready to accept both, which includes never knowing, because they have demonstrated that they can't be trusted with this information, they will not be seeing either grandchild because neither one is safe around them. The biological grandson will be the only one to get an inheritance, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, graduation, and a car. They will take a DNA sample the first chance they get. These people are gross. That's what I was thinking. I have a step-aunt who did a DNA test to prove her grandchildren weren't her sons. Boy, did that cause a huge rift when she kept bragging she did it. She even doubled down when they turned out to be her grandchildren, saying that she was looking out for her family. OP, this is sadly blatant evidence that they never intended to repair the relationship. They just want access to their grandkid. No good can come of that. Poor Adam. What a cruel action on their part. Your friend is wrong. It's not your job to break the boundaries your kid's father has set. Both kids are their grandkids. The only people who should care about biology are their doctors, and only for medical history. Great job standing up for your best friend and helping him enforce his boundaries. By the way, this family arrangement, beautiful. You have a unique family, and the grandparents can either accept that they have two grandsons or have no grandsons. I was at an observation deck yesterday. It's one of those that has a glass floor as part of it. A guy was there trying to get his wife and kid to go on the glass floor so he could take a picture. The kid looked about 3 and terrified. His wife wasn't interested either. When she went to the bathroom, he picked up his kid and went on the glass floor. The kid was frozen stiff and looked pale as a ghost. The dad got his selfie though. When he walked by me, I was telling my boyfriend that if we got married and had kids, and he did something so idiotic and traumatizing to our kids, I would be angry. The guy overheard me and said I should mind my own business. I said I wasn't talking to him, but I did repeat myself and say that he was an idiot for putting his kid in such a scary place when the kid didn't want to be there. By this time, his wife had come out and heard us arguing. Then she got angry at him for doing this against their kid's obvious desire. We walked away, but my boyfriend said I shouldn't have started crap with some random guy terrorizing his kid. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He interrupted a conversation that you were having with your boyfriend. He chose to bring you into the situation, so you had the right to defend yourself in what you said in a private conversation. The guy was being a selfish idiot. Maybe you weren't the best source to hear it from, but he needed to hear it nonetheless. I believe the kid needs to hear it too. I mean, I agree OP's not the idiot, but this reasoning is so dumb, LMAO. If you have a conversation about someone who's within earshot, they definitely have the right to respond. OP absolutely started the altercation by talking about the dad where he can overhear. Again, I think doing this is totally justified in this situation, but let's not act like the OP was minding their own business. LOL. You are the idiot. As a bystander stranger in public, you're a lot less qualified to judge how this impacts that kid than the dad is. He knows the kid's personality, expressions, ways of communicating, and how they've reacted in the past to being put outside their comfort zone. So you need some humility that your gut reaction about what this experience was like for the kid may very well be wrong, and the dad may be more qualified to know. Meanwhile, your behavior seems idiotic. You just happened to badmouth this guy within earshot rather than waiting until he was gone or talking quieter. Then when, of course, he hears you, you write him off that you weren't talking to him, which is doubtful if you said it so he could hear it. You weren't just talking to your boyfriend. You wanted this guy to hear, and you wanted his reaction. It just seems all about making yourself feel good based on confrontation. So 2 months ago, my daughter-in-law, 26 female, gave birth to my lovely grandson. My family and I are Bulgarian Orthodox. Before my grandson was born, I told my son and his wife that I was going to pay for all baptismal expenses and any childcare expenses for the first year, as long as they gave the kid an Orthodox name. They both agreed without much consideration. They named him David Antoine. David is the Orthodox name, and Antoine in honor of the uni professor who mentored both my son and his wife, and who sadly passed away during the global issue. The thing is, while my daughter-in-law converted to Orthodoxy, her parents are atheists of African origin, Ivory Coast, who moved to France. They really wanted their grandchildren to have a traditional Ivorian name. So 2 months ago, when the baby was born and they found out about the name, they threw a massive fit, directed primarily at my wife and I, name-calling, cursing, accusations, and frankly, I wasn't having any of it. I told them that they were insensitive and insulting to not only my religion, but also that of their daughter, to their daughter's decision, and to the mentor of both their daughter and my son. I told them they're uninvited to the baptism due to their behavior, unless they apologize to the parents of our grandchild. Both my son and his wife agreed with my decision. The baptism is next week, and while I've been in no contact with them, my son said that from the discussions they've had, they're still pretty angry and unwilling to apologize, but they said that they'll come to the baptism, whether I like it or not. My sister tells me I've been acting like an idiot towards them, and I should let them join next week if they show up. I maintain that they'll not be allowed at the after party. Edit. When I said they'll not be allowed at the baptism, I meant at the after party, which will take place in my home. Only church officials can kick people out of the ceremony itself, and unless they're disruptive, I don't see a reason they'd be kicked out. My son and his wife paid for their own wedding. She converted of her own free will because it's what she believes in. If you name your kid like I want, I'll pay you. Definitely you are the idiot for using money to manipulate the outcome you wanted with your grandchild. In regards to your in-laws, it's unclear if you've given them any other reason to think that you're a bigot. I can only wonder what your reaction would have been if they'd come up with a better package and had a secular naming ceremony. Frankly, you strike me as an unreliable narrator. Yes, exactly. If the roles were reversed, imagine how upset OP would be. That's a lot of money, and it's effectively blackmail. Of course, blame partly lies on the son and the daughter-in-law, as they could have still said no, but it sounds like an offer that most new parents could scarcely afford to refuse. Also, this wasn't a daughter-in-law's decision. She was flat out bribed by them to make a decision in their favor. Jesus, OP, why can't the parents of this baby make the decision about the name? You're financially incentivizing your level of input into a decision that isn't yours, and now the in-laws are upset that they didn't get a say. Back off, dinosaurs. You had your turn to name your own kids. This isn't your child to raise, and using your money to blackmail your son is wrong, especially when it separates your daughter-in-law and grandson from their culture, religion, and heritage. That's ludicrous. I, 28 female, am currently taking care of my niece, Tina, tween, while my brother's out of town for work for a month. I work from home, so I temporarily moved to my brother's house to look after her. Tina's mother passed away, but her maternal grandparents live in the same neighborhood. My brother told me they visit the grandparents weekly, and sometimes Tina will play with the cousins, as her aunt and uncle also often visit her grandparents. Tina has plenty of toys. She's also tidy and usually picks up after herself, so I don't really know what toys she has. Just a few hours ago, Tina's aunt, Wendy, dropped by with her son, Bill, tween, and asked Tina to return some figures that were her stepson's. I asked Tina for them, but she refused, saying she won the figures in their poker game and was entitled to them. Apparently, their older cousins played poker together at their grandparents' house and taught the younger ones to play. Tina said that Bill wanted to play with her tablet, but she refused. The older cousins then suggested they played poker for it. An hour on Tina's tablet versus something Bill has that Tina would want in return. The only things Tina thought were worth an hour on her device were the Star Wars figures. Wendy accidentally unloaded from her car and made Bill keep an eye on, so Bill wagered the figures, and he lost all but 2 of them to Tina, with their older tween cousin as their witness. Wendy then needed to hurry home and grabbed Bill, not noticing the difference in the bag. The figures were Bill's half-brothers, who left the bag in Wendy's car. He was panicking when he noticed all but 2 of his figures were missing. So Bill was forced to tell his mom and brother what happened. Wendy asked for the figures back. They're not particularly expensive, like $25 to $30 each, but Bill's brother did save up for them. Tina refused to give them back, saying she won them fair and square, and their cousin was the witness to the game. Wendy said she couldn't hold a child poker game responsible for the loss of actual properties, and that Tina needed to return the figures. I offered to call my brother and did, but his coworker picked up and said that my brother was in a very important meeting and people not directly involved could not interrupt. My brother forgot his phone, so he would be unreachable until the end of the meeting, 6 or 7 hours from now. So I left a message asking him to call me back. I told Wendy we'd have to wait for my brother to make his decision. As for now, Tina will keep the figures until her father says otherwise. Wendy said she didn't have 6 hours to wait. She said I should be able to see how messed up this is and make Tina return the figures. Again, I refused to make her, saying I personally thought Tina earned the figures, and my brother was the only one who could make Tina return them. Wendy called me an idiot for stealing, and as she could not wait around, took her son back, saying she would call later. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Those figurines were not Bill's to gamble. Tina's received stolen property, and you're refusing to return them because your tween niece won them in a poker game? You're supposed to be the adult in charge here. Once it was made clear that they weren't Bill's toys, by not returning them, both you and Tina were no better than thieves. Way to teach the kid values. How many figurines are we talking about here? Because if only 2 were left, it makes me think it's probably upwards of $100 worth of toys at least that a kid saved up for, and you're refusing to return. Do you really need someone else to point out how crappy a move that is? Honestly, the fact that Tina swindled her cousin into putting up permanent ownership of items in return for a shot at temporary use of her stuff is enough to be worrying by itself. Such an inclination towards being a rip-off artist should, in my opinion, be nipped in the bud, hard. Watch Tina. She appears to be lacking empathy and will grow into a snake. Wow, I get to go against the grain, not the idiot, because it's entirely reasonable to have the father handle the issue and make the decisions himself when he becomes available. This is about kids' toys, so it's in no way time sensitive. The aunt can easily wait for a day to have this resolved. Just gotta tell her stepson she's sorry for causing the inconvenience. The aunt is the idiot for trying to pressure OP into not consulting her brother. The aunt's also the idiot for failing to teach her son that you don't give away things you don't even own. If he broke or lost them, the blame would also obviously be on him, no? Yep, I'm here for this one. It's surprising how you're being scolded here for wanting to ask the kid's parent how to parent their kid. Holy crap. They're tweens, though. Doubt either of them knew what the figures were worth beyond the fact that they were toys. They probably gambled them because it's the only thing Bill had on him, and probably multiple games, not 3 figures in one go. I'm amazed that people think Tina is some kind of mastermind. She just won something and now considers it hers, probably not really thinking about Bill's brother. If the 2 tweens played a game and the winner got all the sweets, but then the loser's parent demanded the sweets be given back, even though had they lost it, it would have stuck, that would seem very unfair. My son, male 19, loves to just wear his underwear in his room for whatever reason. He'll throw on a shirt and pants if he has to step out to go to the bathroom, come to the kitchen, talk to anybody, etc. But otherwise, he's just in his underwear. I've, male 48, told him multiple times that I dislike this and that he has to wear clothes in case his mom or I have to come into his room. He says that if we start knocking, he'll throw something on, and then it'll be okay. I told him he still had to wear clothes, and then he made another excuse and said it was too hot. In the summer, I tend to set the thermostat to around 85 or 87 to save money. I turn it down to around 80 to 82 once the sun goes down, because then it takes less energy. He says that it makes him sweat when he's just sitting around not doing anything, and I rejoin by saying, if it's so hot, go spend a couple hours outside, see if it still feels hot. We live in Oklahoma, and it routinely gets up to 100 in the summers. He rolled his eyes at this, and we just kept arguing. I'm wondering now if I'm the idiot. Am I? You are the idiot. Huge one. 87 degrees in the summer? That's torturous. Your ridiculous temperature requirements are the reason he's wearing only underwear in the first place. You want him to get dressed? Keep the house at a humane temperature. 87 degrees in the house? I would friggin' die. I don't care how many clothes the kid is wearing. That's inhumane. OP's probably the kind of guy who lives by my house, my rules, right down to micromanaging his son's room because it financially still belongs to OP. Well, OP will learn one day when he has his own room in a nursing home and can't have any more control over it. I'm not trying to be rude here, but this isn't how you treat someone you love. You need to see a therapist and figure out why you need to control your son's life down to the micromanagement level. There is no good reason why him sitting in his own room, his safe space, the only physical space he can call his, bothers you whatsoever. Go see a professional and repair what's left of your relationship with your son and use your dang air conditioner.